Well, greetings and salutations, folks. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to this second and night-ending bonus upload. This upload gets us almost right up to Saturday Nightmares live from upstate New York, which is our live stream. Starts at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do hope to see you all there. We have a lot of fun sharing experiences, theories. The community chat is truly amazing. The amount of respect given to all that is in there, the friendships that are forged, it is just, I am blessed to have such amazing and respectful subscribers. It really does make the difference. Once again, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we jump into this bonus, so a couple quick links. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this second and night-ending bonus upload, shall we? First, we will talk about my conversation with Dark Waters, or my best friend James. 2 days ago, we had played phone tag and finally connected. I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I had been thinking about and get his opinion. Now, like I don't watch other people's channels. I'll pop in on a live stream for him. I will, maybe catch the first couple of minutes of a video, click the like, just because I don't want to be jaded by other channels. So I know that he doesn't watch every single one of my videos, and I don't hold that against him, and he doesn't hold it against me, for vice versa. I tell him about the Tom Mezzik thing, and I said, James, check this out. The whole strangeness of this area. First and foremost, you've got a missing 411 in the Adirondacks of New York. I said, I've gone up there numerous times. I said, about a year and a half ago, I had come across a rock formation, 3 stacked rocks. One is deep into the ground. It's a larger rock. Then there's one stacked on that, and then another stacked on that. I said, I didn't make a big deal out of it purposely. I said, because I didn't want people to be like, oh man, you put that there, you stacked that up, because it's just human nature. A long time ago, I would have been the same. I would have been like, maybe not. But the strangeness of that formation is how I found it. I was walking down Lily Pond Trail. Now, where Tom Mezzik disappeared is off Lily Pond Road, which is in Horicon, New York, or Brant Lake, off of Route 8, Lily Pond Road is. I'm walking down this trail called Lily Pond Trail, and I I don't know what or why, but turned left into the woods and walked straight up the mountain. For those of you who remember me doing this a couple of times, it's pretty steep and it gets me winded. I do vape, so that may have something to do with it. But I just randomly find these 3 stones, rocks, whatever you want to call them. Now, about a year later, just recently, I'm up there, and I notice where I had turned left, and I showed you guys this, there's a patch of trees. And I said, James, it's about 50 feet long on the side of the trail. I said, maybe 20 to 30 feet deep. I said, and all the trees are tilted. It would be southeast. The trees before it and the trees after it are not tilted or bent or anything. They literally go like this, the trees. And then the trees in front of it are like straight ahead. The trees behind it, straight ahead. Just this row of... I've shown trees about yay big around, snapped at about 8.5, 9 feet. Much too tall for a human to do it. In this general location. Now, mind you, when Tom Mezzik disappeared, he was sitting while other family members and friends would push the deer to him and his counterparts that were sitting as well, the older gentlemen. And one of the guys in The Hunted, David Paulides' Missing 411, The Hunted, where a family member of mine is in that movie, he states that he heard this metal ting, this ping, this just noise. It's very, very non-descriptive the way he tells the sound. But nonetheless, there's this strange noise. Okay? They cut this 5 squared mile region out and searched it. And they had a grid pattern down, and they computerized that grid pattern. And literally every inch of that forest was walked. There was people from Department of Corrections, there were Warren County Police Department, New York State Troopers, Department of Forestry, just volunteers. And then one day the FBI shows up for a couple of days for no reason. No one knows why. And if they do, they're not telling us why. And I interviewed a ton of people, and you guys can find that video that I made. It was about an hour and a half, maybe an hour, 20 minutes. My kind of documentary on where Tom Mezzik disappeared. I interviewed the fire hall was ground zero for all the search and rescue and all that. I interviewed the fire chief. I interviewed the town supervisor, sheriff, undersheriff, everyone. State troopers, forest rangers. Now, no one knows why the FBI was there. Okay, that's real strange because he's not a tender-aged youth, and there was no state lines crossed. Well, people would be like, well, what if it was what if the family members did it? Well, that'd be handled by the New York State Police, not the FBI. Just like if, something like with the Tony Aarons, Amber Miller, if that went, and that's funny that I bring that up because TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, should have been involved, but they didn't. The county and local handled that. But you know what I'm saying. New York State Police would have handled it. They're quite capable of handling cases like this. So the FBI bounces, and now we're back to present day. I'm up there. I'm walking, 10 months prior to this, I go and I walk and I get this really bad feeling, and I'm talking to you guys and I'm like, guys, this would be the perfect kill zone right here if I were one of these creatures. First of all, you've got the mountain coming down like this, then the trail levels, and then it's a ravine, and then the trail kind of goes down. So you are in like this, just you are screwed because you've got to go up, down, up. You're just stuck. Your best bet at survival would be to run down the ravine and break every bone in your body. So I noticed that 10 months ago. Now, present day, I'm back up there and I'm walking, talking to you guys. I'm talking about the weird trees. And it's crazy because every time I say this, guys, it feels like a great day. There is noise. There's been many times that there was no noise. Okay. I see something run across the trail. I see something come down the mountainside, bipedal. And I caught it on camera and I showed you guys this. It hit that trail and it dropped to quadruped and then went down into the ravine. And I literally had my cow pack with me. And I turned right around and I was like, guys, I gotta find a place to relieve myself. I wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible, as inconspicuous as I could. And I did. Got back to the car, headed out. So 9 days go by and I'm back up there, except I didn't go down Lily Pond Trail. I went down a wash, which those of you who are not familiar with what a wash is, it's when water runoff from the snow comes down the mountain and kind of creates its own trail. It's a very secluded place. Mind you, this is, it is part of the Adirondacks. There has been park rangers in that area. They did look for Tom Mezzik. And so, there is debris, not garbage debris, but large trees that have fallen over and stuff like that. There's little pink plastic ribbons hung on trees to mark the grid, that 5 square mile grid. So I'm going up the wash. And about a month and a half prior to that, I had gone up there and I had sat and I had narrated a couple encounters on these two rocks, and smooth sailing, right? So I'm up there and I'm sitting down and I just start to narrate this encounter about these folks in Washington State. Bam! You hear it on the camera, this smash. I turn like just a smidge, and out of the peripheral, I catch it. I catch something, and I just grab my bag, my shotgun, my camera, which is on a tripod, and I start running. And of course, my face is this close to the camera, and I'm, what was that, guys? Oh my God. And I think I hit the camera with my face, because as I'm running, and you can tell that I'm running, it turns off. But when I was running down the hill toward my car, and I was only an eighth of a mile from where my car was parked, I turned. I didn't want to stop and turn around. I just kind of quick turned. And I saw something run up. So I'm going straight down, and it runs this way. But the tree was demolished. I could see parts of this tree just... And this was caught. The sound was caught. My fear was caught. It was genuine. I get down to the car. I'm like, realize my camera's off. I'm like, man, what the heck? I go home. And I share the video with you guys. But I also get on the computer and I map out that location. And if that wash is here, right? Lily Pond Trail goes this way. The rock formation would be here. Here. Lily Pond Trail. The kill zone is over here. Whatever that thing was running toward that rock, those 3 stacked rocks that I didn't make a big deal out of. And from that rock position, it can easily get to that kill zone by running that ridge of that mountain. But that's not my thought. My thought is that there is a portal somewhere in that area. That metallic noise that friend of Tom Mezzik heard, the hunter, friend for life, friend for life. Tom Mezzik was a 72-year-old man, very old man. I think that was some kind of noise from that portal, or created from the portal opening, that noise, or closing. But whatever's going on there, I feel, is cryptid related, but also portal. And I think whatever cryptid is there came from that portal. And I shared that with Dark Waters. And we talked about it for a good 20 minutes. And we agreed with each other. One other thing that I forgot to mention, prior to me seeing that thing hop across the trail there, about maybe 3 weeks before that, because the leaves had just started to peak, I was up on that hill by that rock formation, looking down. It went dead silent, and there was noise. Some kind of noise of something down there. And I waited. And I got that on film too, and I shared that with you guys. I'm going to sit down and try to piece those videos together. I got to find them. But I believe that whatever happened to Tom Mezzik, Yes, we have Bigfoot up there. There's been numerous Dogman encounters reported out of there. More so Bigfoot. But I really 100%, if I was a betting man, would put my money on Tom Mezzik's disappearance related to a portal. They never found a hat. He always wore this checkered hat. He had a walkie-talkie. He had his rifle. How did they not find this stuff? The man was an 82nd Airborne. He taught survival skills. So yes, he was old, but he was smart enough to know that if he got lost, to sit. And if he passed away at night, waiting for the search party to find him, but chances are he wouldn't have, because he's a survivalist. You don't lose those skills. But even if he did, they'd find his body. They never found a thing. James and I are pretty sure we are at an agreement that whatever that was portal related, and it is a dangerous place. And I'm going back up there. I might take a ride up today, but I know this weekend I'm going to grab a couple trail cams and I'm going to put them up in that area where that tree was smashed. But yeah, so that's the first thing I want to share with you. All of it points to a portal. So with that being said, after discussing the Tom Mezzik theories and what went on with me while I was up there, I brought up the fact that I'm starting to really believe that these entities, I'm not even going to call them creatures, because at this point, I do know that some have been flesh and blood, because obviously people have claimed to have killed them, and I say claimed because I wasn't there. But entities, because we're talking about portals today a little bit. And I said, James, check this out though. I really am starting to put together this theory that people with addictions, whether it be an active addiction or a recovered addiction, and a mental health issue, whether it be depression, bipolar, whatever, are more apt to have an encounter with these things. And I'm wondering if there is a vibration that addicts and people with mental health issues put off that is different than someone that doesn't have those. Being a recovering addict myself, 7 years sober with the grace of God, I believe that the reason why I had my encounter was because of, at the point I was an active addict. I was popping Vicodin daily at 17. I also believe that what happened the evening or summer with my cousins and that Ouija board had something to do with it too. I'm really honestly starting to think that there is a large portal connection, and there is some sort of I don't want to say the word evil, but that's probably the closest word I can put into that category. Or put that into that category of evil, excuse me. So, but yeah, so that's James and I conversation. Really good conversation. And also here, the last thing we talked about is, and we both were on the same page. I discussed how Claudia Ackley passed away. And then I discussed how Linda Godfrey, Brent Swanton, I never knew him. I'm probably not even pronouncing his name properly. The Carey gentleman from the Sasquatch Chronicles or whatever. There's 4. Then myself with a terminal illness manageable by medication. Kirk Stokes is very, very, very sick with major health issues. Jody Cook. And I'm like, James, do you think that because of being researchers and into this field that there are certain people that get sick? And he said yes, that there may be some sort of targeted to stop us. Not because we are on some, we are on 100% no or whatnot, but just because we are on that quest of truth. Not because we have the truth within our grasp, but because we're just on that quest, So, and I said, we need to do an upload together about this stuff. And that's going to be very soon. And I hope you guys join me in him. I don't know an exact date, but that will be very soon. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the final part of today's upload. And this, my friends, is absolutely horrifying. So, today's final part of the upload is a subscriber contacted me and wanted to share a little bit of info with me. They live in the San Bernardino area. Very close to Mount Baldy, where obviously Julian Sands was found after he had disappeared back in January. Very strange case. Even though he was an actor, he was an avid outdoorsman. He wasn't your atypical A-list or even B-list actor. This guy was a ice climber, a rock climber. He was hardcore. And enjoyed nature, loved nature. Very intelligent man. And almost like the Tom Mezzik case, I kind of am like, that's really weird that he just, because he's not your typical, Tom Hanks going out in the woods. You'd expect Tom Hanks to just, you know what I mean? I mean, he's a cool guy, whatever, but this guy had a lot of training behind him, years of training. Well, after I had talked to him a while back, he had went up to the area and up to Stoddard Peak, the Stoddard Peak region. Now, he said that he had seen some kind of strange things out of the periphery, and but nothing head on. He was just kind of getting the feel of the land. And shortly thereafter, about 2 weeks ago, there was a bear attack report, right? A lady was reportedly attacked by a bear. Now, the news carried this story for a couple days, and search teams went out to look for this lady, to look for the bear, to euthanize it and stuff like that. The news comes back, hey, we closed down, we did this, but there was no attack. There was no lady, there was no bear. That's real strange, right? So this subscriber goes back up to the region. He lives in this area. He and I, there's 2 subscribers in that region that talked about the homeless population being snack food for the Dogmen. And I'm not being rude about that. There's no better way to put it. These poor people that have lost everything, whether it be because of addiction or mental health or just bad luck, are on the street, and then they probably get sick of the street and move out to these outlying areas. And who's going to report a homeless person missing, right? So 2 of my subscribers I've talked to in that region about this, and both have confirmed that, there's proof of it. You just got to be there in that location. There's talk of it. So he goes up and starts talking to some folks in the Stoddard Peak region again, because that's right under where this lady had had been attacked by a bear, bear. Now, my thing is, and his thing, he was thinking like me, there was probably an attack. The news got a hold of that story faster than the government could come up with something to kind of smooth it over and cover it up. Because usually the media and the government work hand in hand, but sometimes there's just, just that lip of miscommunication or no communication. He ends up talking to a search and rescue guy. Apparently there was an attack, and it was not a bear, but a small pack of dogmen. He's going to get more out of this story for me. He's sat down with this guy, and he's going to go back, sit down with him, have coffee, and really get the whole story from this gentleman. But apparently what the person that reported this attack said was, and I'd love to get my hands on the 911 call, but I guarantee the FOIA, they will not release it. They'll say it doesn't exist. But apparently in that call, 3 to 4 large quadruped, biped creatures are attacking a woman, tearing her apart. Like, that was the supposed 911 call. So when police search and rescue are on the scene, there's an area that they're looking at. And what the news put, the area that the news displayed was just below where Stoddard Peak and this region where this woman was attacked and not found. But I guess 2 or 3 of the search team saw these large canine creatures running away into the northern part of Mount Baldy, up in a location called Blue Ridge. I guess they were biped at one point. They dropped to all fours and ran up. The description that the guy gave my sub was, "Have you ever seen Twilight?" And my subscriber goes, "No." And I laugh like that because I've never seen it. I looked this up on YouTube and watched the clip that he was talking about, but he said, look up the Native American Jacob in his shape-shifting form. And these things are huge. Like when he is in there, when these Native Americans are in their prior or pre-human stage, whatever, they're monstrous compared to a human, you know, as they're changed. Like a human would dwarf a or a quadruped, one of these creatures. Well, that's what he said. You ever seen Twilight? No. Well, that's exactly what these things look like, and just as big. He said about the size of a small car. They were huge. And they all ran north into the Mount Baldy region more. Deeper in. That explains why the media and the government eventually did get together and said, no, there wasn't anything. It was a false report. How in the heck does a false report equal nationwide news? Because I heard it. And I'm in New York. That's across the country. But yeah, it's not real, guys. It's not real. It didn't happen. But the whole nation, national news, aired this prior to them saying it didn't happen. So he's going to talk to this guy. I said, listen, take him out to lunch. I said, let me PayPal you some money. Take him out to lunch. Jeff, I don't want you to PayPal me any money. I'll take him out to lunch. We'll take him out to coffee, whatever. And I'll talk to him and get the whole, I said, if you can, record it on your phone. I said, don't even, just put your phone in your pocket and just record the whole conversation. And he said, yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks. And I was like, dude, please. Because that would be, I guess, firsthand, the closest to firsthand account we could get. But he didn't see him. He just talked to, not the sub. Which is kind of weird, because when I watched the video clips, the YouTube clips of the transition of these creatures from this to this. Now, he's not saying they transformed. What he's saying is they were that big. They were huge. That's probably why they got, mistaken for bear. I mean, obviously someone calls, hey, there's these large creatures tearing apart this woman. What are you going to think? Bear. I mean, what are we going to think? We're going to think Dogman, Bigfoot, whatever. If it's not hairy crawler. the people who aren't in the know are going to think they're. So he's going to be doing that for me in the next couple of days, and that's what I got cooking. I'm looking forward to doing that upload with my buddy Dark Waters, and just discussing the issues, or not the issues, the theory on everything. Because I am, like I said, if I was a betting man, I don't think Tom Mezzik was attacked by anything other than something coming out of some kind of portal. And to me, that makes the most sense. All right, folks, there you have it. The night ending, or second bonus of the day, right, bringing us right up to the live stream, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do hope to see you all there. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support, after all, that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, our family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.